Here we are. Hello there. Welcome.
Hi.
Welcome to the Existential Cuppa. I've got my beautiful friend Margaret over for a cup of delicious tea. Yum, yum. And, of course, I'm Linda. Nice to see everybody. So as we just get ourselves settled in, get yourself a cup of tea, get comfy, I'd just like to acknowledge that we are broadcasting from Larrakia country today. And I pay honour and respect to the elders past, present and emerging, and give my heartfelt thanks and gratitude to the traditional custodians of this land, the Larrakia people. Thank you for your generous sharing of this incredible country, the beauty of the sky, the trees, the people, the animals, the glorious sea that surrounds and nurtures us. And I ask to do spirit work here in alignment and harmony with the existing deep spiritual connection of this place, for the healing and enlightenment of all. There's nothing like being at home.
That's true.
So welcome to beautiful Larrakia country. Oh, I'm not allowed to do that. Sorry, I meant no disrespect or cultural appropriation there. That was just me feeling quite at home. So we thought today we'd just continue last week's discussion a little bit, but just go off on a tangent. It was kind of sparked by hearing our health minister recently saying, everybody rush out and get vaccinated so we can get back to the old normal. Now, the thing that really stuck with me was this idea of getting back to the old normal.
I agree.
Back to the old normal. It strikes me as being very similar to that concept of, having a cure, being fixed, going back to the way things were before XYZ happened. So we thought we'd talk a bit about that today.
Indeed. Yeah, I think that going back to the old normal's a bit of a furphy, really.
I was going to say exactly that word.
I don't think we can go back to anything. I think we have to continue to move forward. And I think we have to rediscover what's going to, how our futures are going to unfold. And for each individual person, based on their choice, their future will unfold differently. So I think going back is one of those things that we just can't do. The past is the past. The only thing the only thing we have is the present moment right now. We can consider the future and the possibility of what things might mean, once or if the 70 or 80% vaccination rates are met, but we can't go back.
No, that's right. But what we can do is look at past experience.
Indeed.
And evaluate what are the good things, what are the bad things, what are the things that we can do differently, and bring that forward.
Yes.
Bring that into our conscious decision making about how do we want to move forward. So I've always been one to stand on my soapbox and talk about paradigm shift, and I think this is the perfect opportunity for a paradigm shift. We've all globally have had the opportunity to have lived experience of doing things differently. Now, it's been a forced lived experience and it's been damn uncomfortable and downright difficult for a lot of people. But I think it's given us all an opportunity to realise, oh, my God, I can do this differently.
Yeah, I agree. I think the idea that we don't have to do the same thing over and over again is a real opportunity to start thinking about what it is we actually want to do. How do we feel about what we want to do? Do the things that we were doing, are they working for us still? Are they different? Do we need to rethink? I think, working from home, I think, children being educated at home, looking at the things that are really important to us and seeing how we can do those things differently and keep doing them differently, once things have sorted themselves out is a really good thing to do.
Absolutely.
It's the silver lining in this whole situation, if there is a silver lining.
Yeah. And I think this whole preoccupation that we have with this idea that there's only one way to live, and there's only one way for our society to operate, and that is in this, political economic framework that says you must work X number of hours and earn X number of dollars before you're entitled to have a lifestyle that looks and feels like this. I think that's the basic premise that's, bottom line broken. This is the starting point for where we can shift. And I've just noticed, Marg, that I got carried away with spelling your name. I don't know how those extra letters got there, but
that's okay.
About that. Yeah. So, I think this is the perfect opportunity for us to reevaluate what's really important to us and how do we want to bring the things that are truly valuable, that are truly meaningful, back to a place of prominence. Because let's face it, basic human worth at the moment is not even considered in the factor. It's all to do with money. So that's a good starting point.
Yeah, I think so too. I think, money is important in this framework to function, but I think we have a real opportunity now to think about what are the things that are important to us and actually think about those things in relation to how we feel about those things rather than how we're always thinking, oh, I need to have this, I need to have this, I need to have that. If we can feel how we feel about whether we need that new car or whether we need that new holiday or we need this or that, then we actually can free ourselves from the burden of flogging ourselves to work to get that money to be able to do those things. We can see other opportunities arising. It gives us the opportunity to, rethink how we want to live. And I'm not just talking about, a tree change or a sea change. I'm talking about within the framework that we've set up for ourselves and our families already. It's just a perspective shift, really. And we can do that. And then from there, other things change and other things grow. And, if we're open and we're present, we have a much greater opportunity to work out those things. I know this concept stuff, this stuff we're talking about for a lot of people is a bit scary because we're so used to what we're doing and we have an expectation that we should be able to continue doing those things no matter what. But, it comes down to deciding that this is an opportunity for us to change or not. Maybe our life is perfect and we don't need to change it. But just realizing that, I think, is a really good thing as well.
Yeah, it just really takes so much struggle out when you can sit and appreciate what you've actually got.
Yeah.
And really make conscious evaluation of, well, do I need to keep striving to get this when this is actually fulfilling me so beautifully?
I have enough. It is enough.
Yeah.
And we don't need any more, or yes, we do need any more. It really is about being present and recognizing that they're the things that are important to you. So it's not about going, oh, that's wrong, the past is wrong. It's just about recognizing that, we either need to change or we don't need to change, but it's honoring ourselves by being present enough to go, yeah, I'm okay.
Yeah. And I think it's also being open to asking the question, well, I had a conversation with my lovely mother recently, and, we eventually got around to, but you need money to survive. I was like, well, you don't actually. You actually need water and food to survive. Money makes it really easy for you to get those things in today's society because that's how today's society has been set up. But realistically, it's not money that's the important thing. It's meeting your essential needs. That's the important thing. And I think the question to ask is, well, why do we have to keep doing it this way? Why do we have to have the emphasis being on it's money that we need to have a happy life? It's money that we need to make the world go round. It's money that we need to grease the wheels of government. Well, whoops. We all know that happens. But, I think this is the perfect opportunity to go, well, what if we had a society that's based on contribution rather than taking? What if we had a society that looked at community needs over individual people who put themselves above everybody else? And they've got this idyllic, I would question that they do actually have an idyllic lifestyle, but we all perceive that they have an idyllic lifestyle. Why can't we have that? Just because they've got money and we don't? That does not make them a better person or more worthy or more deserving.
No.
You know, so these are some of the basic questions I think that we're perfectly placed at the moment to start considering.
Yeah, I agree.
We might not have answers, but at least we can ask the questions and start conversation.
Indeed, I think starting the conversation and also thinking about what it is individually that each individual person wants in relation to these questions, you know, whether they want to or how they feel about these questions and whether they feel they're relevant or not. But then looking at what they can actually do themselves at an individual level to help community or to support a change in the paradigm shift. You know, the more we work at making changes, the better we are. And you know, right through history, we can see, you know, people going, okay, this is not a good thing. What do we need to do about it? You know, or people saying, you know, we need to do something about recycling, or we need to be mindful about the climate, or we need to stop smoking, or we need to do these things. So, you know, this is not a new concept. This is something that we need to change this in our society. Let's start the conversation.
What's the big block?
Yeah.
There's a bloody big block in the way. What is it? You know, when we're working one-to-one, we look at what's the resistance, what's causing the resistance, and how can we resolve that resistance to move forward. And I think it's time that the society as a whole did the same thing. There is a huge resistance against making change. That means our lifestyle might need some adjustment, but the outcome for the rest of the planet and for the longevity of our own population, you know, humanity itself might actually survive if we suck it up and make some changes now.
Well, I think we're already doing that too with the lockdowns. You know, people's lives have changed completely. You know, they've lost their job or they're working from home, you know, but their way of being has shifted and changed. So it gives, you know, it's an opportunity there for us to think about how we want to do that differently.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
we're already getting that change happening because of COVID. So now we just have to use it as a means of, you know, working how we can have a better way of being in the world. And we practice that, you know, whatever that means. And change is inevitable. It's the only thing in life other than death that you can count on. Yeah, you can count on. So, you know, it's going to happen whether we like it or not. It's just if we get on board. But I think also too, we don't want to do it. We don't want to say to people, oh, you have to change. You have to do this. You have to do that. No, because we're already seeing a huge body, you know, a huge number or a huge groundswell of people going, actually, that's not okay. You know, so we have to encourage, we have to model, we have to let people see that it's actually okay. They're okay. They just need to decide for themselves what it is that they want to do.
Yeah. And I think, you know, it can be just as simple as when someone like the health minister stands up and says, let's get back to the old normal as quickly as possible, that you as a person can take a moment to go, the old normal. What's so great about the old normal that we want to rush back to it?
Yeah.
Do I actually want to rush back to that?
Yeah.
Or do I want to take some time considering some alternative pathways?
Indeed.
Is there something better we can be doing?
Yeah, I agree.
Because the old normal is so inequitable, so unjust, so disgustingly dirty. Yeah, we need to change.
Yeah, we do. But that's our perspective. So what's your perspective? Right. What do you think?
Yeah.
Is the old normal working for you, or has it worked for you in the past and you want to get back there because you think it's the right thing to do?
And I'm not suggesting throw the baby out with the bathwater. Yeah. You know, there are things that are working really well. You know, access to social services, our welfare system. Maybe that could work better. But, you know, there are some things in the way we currently operate that are doing a reasonably good job. We have the opportunity to take those forward and improve them. And we have the opportunity to go, you know what, that education system, let's try something completely different.
Yeah,
you know?
I think we should always be evolving. You know, when you think about business, for example, if business stays, you know, static, it will drop off. you know, so if we take the analogy of business, we always have to be moving forward. We always have to be coming up with new ways to promote business or promote the product or, you know, whatever. We need to do these things. So to maintain, you know, good business flow, good business building. So I don't see that as being any different. That's just one aspect of our life. You know, if we take on board that principle and look at it in our whole life, I think the evolution of ourselves as we experience our world allows us to move forward in whatever way we choose to, and that, I think that's fine. That's I think the healthiest way to go, and each person can make up their own mind in relation to that. They just have to be personally responsible for their choices.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, the idea that if we live in the present moment, there is nothing but the present moment, and every moment we have a choice. So it makes me wonder, how are we so stuck in a pattern of behavior that we aren't present and that we're actually living? You know, Joe Dispenza would actually put forward the theory that we're actually living our past programming day after day, that, you know, what we're actually enacting every day is a dream of something that we did yesterday. And so I kind of see that. I kind of see that in the way our society is operating at the moment. Even though things seem to be accelerating and going faster and faster and faster, the same pattern day after day is coming up.
Yeah.
And we're not doing anything about it. You know, we each individually have our own sovereign right to stand in our own power and exercise our God-given right of free will.
Yeah.
But we don't, because we stay asleep or mindless in our unconscious programming of this is the only way we can do this. So I'm putting forward that, you know, we can do it differently. We can each day wake up and decide, how am I doing it differently today? And it could just be a really small tweak, like, I don't know, getting up 5 minutes earlier and putting in some meditation, whereas before you'd sleep in until, you know, you might push the snooze button 3 times before getting out of bed. Just small things that give you the opportunity to recognize your own sovereign right to free will.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's a really good point. We forget. We forget that we have free will. We forget that we can make decisions. And we comply with things that we don't often agree with because we think that's the only option that we have. I think it's a really good thing to stop, take a breath and decide whether this is in fact the right thing to do. And then if it is the right thing to do, then acknowledge it is and honor that. And then it will flow much easier, you know, in a more simpler way.
Yeah.
It is, we don't have to push, we don't have to make it harder to do anything, but we need to be conscious of what we are doing.
I love that you're starting to bring back in the thread of the intuition chat that we had earlier.
Indeed,
yeah. This is, you know, this whole ability to be able to stop and check in and find out where you're in alignment with the choices so that you can make an aligned conscious decision.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
I think ultimately if we can practice that, the art of that, if we can practice, you know, doing that and recognizing that we're doing that at a conscious level. So, and we have clarity in that in relation to our conscious mind, then everything else flows better because our intuition will be working, you know, our capacity to know that this is the right thing for us to do, even though other people might be saying it's the wrong thing to do. But we know that it's the right thing to do.
And the beautiful thing about that intuition is it's that gorgeous connected thread to everything else. So you can actually tune into the vibrational understanding that's going on around you, that's actually running under the vibration of that subconscious collective patterning that we wake up to every day. Because let's face it, we are living in a pattern, and that energy pattern is very, very strong.
And I mean, patterns and behaviours are formed because we need to protect ourselves or we need to survive. So I think that's a really important thing to recognize, that they're not bad. They were formed or created by us for a particular circumstance or situation. But these days they may not be relevant to us anymore. And so the more consciously aware we are of these patterns or all of these old ways of being, the easier it is for us to step out of them and think about how else we could do it different, or feel how else we can do it different.
And that's the key, isn't it? It's the first is the noticing.
Yeah.
It's actually stopping long enough to notice rather than continuing to make unconscious reaction to the external stimulus.
Or assuming that we have to be or do something because everybody else is doing it. It's totally fine to do those things if that's what you want to do. If those things resonate with you and they make you feel good about what you do, then it's totally fine to run around like a busy bee doing those things, if they bring you joy and they make you feel like you're doing what you need to be doing in your world. But if they don't, then we need to stop, we need to take a breath, and we need to work out why they don't. And if we don't know, but we know that they're not right for us anymore, we need to make the change. And there are lots of different ways we can do that. There are lots of different masters that have, down through the ages have, given us tools to do that. And so practicing those things can help us to stay more present in our world. And I think there's a lot of people, writing lots of different things about this, but they're all saying the same thing. They're just coming at it from a completely different or a slightly different perspective each time. So if you resonate with one of those masters, then, reading their information, reading what they've put on paper, practicing the tools that they're suggesting for you will have a benefit, and will help you make those changes so that we're not so unconscious all the time and we are able to make decisions for ourselves, whatever those decisions are.
Absolutely. And if you've just joined us, hello, welcome. Thank you for spending some time with us. We'd love you to pop your comment in, say hi, who you are, where you're tuning in from. And I hope you're enjoying a cuppa with us. I've actually finished mine. I'm onto the water.
Me too.
But yeah, I think that's a really important point that you make, Margaret, about seeking some guidance. You can seek the guidance and bring it in to see how it sits with you and work with that understanding to help you develop your own particular way of tuning in, of making decisions, of coming present, of, being a part of the awakening process that we all really need at the moment.
Yeah, I think that's a really important thing. I think that above anything else from today's existential cuppa is that it's about, if something resonates with you or it doesn't resonate with you, just because the person that you're seeing, so a practitioner or a healer, or even you're reading a book from somebody, if it doesn't resonate with you, then it's not the right approach to take. If it does, then it is the right approach to take for you right now. And to allow that and recognize that gives you the power then to negotiate and to work out how this is going to work for you and to get the best out of it for you. And that's the way to look at it, rather than just listen, there's no point just reading and going, oh, wow, that was interesting. But you're not actually feeling what you've just read. Or I can do that, but, when you do it, you don't feel any different. Feeling is how the body expresses itself. And if you're vibrating when you read something, or resonating when you read something, intuitively that it's the right thing for you to do, then doing that will actually allow you to become more conscious, stay in your own natural flow, and achieve the things that you're setting for yourself, that, the goals you're setting for yourself. Or you can work out, actually, no, that doesn't work for me anymore, and I think that thing is really important. And I learned this lesson recently. A couple of weeks ago, I went to help somebody and I was feeling a bit tired, and I knew I should have gone home and had a lie down, and I had to work in the evening, and I didn't. I went and helped this person, and in helping them, I rolled my ankle, and I was reminded of the fact that I stepped out of my flow. I didn't listen to what I needed to do, and I injured myself. you know. So it was a really good lesson for me to be reminded that, you know, you need to feel how it feels. You need to listen to what you need to do so that you can actually achieve all the things that you want to do for yourself.
And having said that, though, you know, that doesn't mean that you be super selfish and, you know, do only what resonates for you, because what we're advocating here is that idea of free will. And that also means, you know, sometimes you do make decisions that don't resonate, but you do it being fully conscious of what the likely consequences are going to be. For instance, me eating chocolate cake, you know? I like chocolate cake, but gluten flour is not good for me. Dairy, definitely not good, you know. So when we're talking Black Forest Gâteau with cream and chocolate and all that delicious, you know, juicy, you know what I mean, that stuff is gorgeous. Most of the times I will say no thank you, because I know how I will feel the next day, and I don't want to feel like that the next day. But every now and then I will go, oh, yes, and I'll have extra cream on the side. Thank you very much. And I will enjoy every mouthful. But I will have made a conscious decision that I'm going to eat that piece of cake. I'm going to enjoy every last mouthful, because I'm going to feel like shit tomorrow. But I'm okay with that because that's what I'm choosing.
Indeed, yeah, and that's right. You have to be conscious about it. You're right about that. Ouch. You have to. Yeah, that's, you know, I agree with that 100%. I think you do. You know, if we have to do things, or we're choosing to make a decision, or choosing to do something that we perhaps don't necessarily want to do, this is a you know, being really 100% conscious about what we're doing is the way to go. And I think that's fantastic.
Chocolate cake, yeah, perfect spot. Yeah. Nice to see you, Roz. Thanks so much for popping in and spending some time with us. Yeah, well, you know, chocolate cake's a bit of a high point, I think. Yes, goes well with a cup of tea. I probably shouldn't have mentioned chocolate cake just now.
For neither of us. No.
But it was so delicious. I haven't had any recently.
No.
But that's okay. I choose not to. So, you know, this whole idea of slowing down and getting into the moment gives you that opportunity to assess, you know, rather than just mindlessly going on and on and on. Hello there. Hello, Roz. It's so great to see you. And Roz does beautiful Leonard. Hope I'm saying that. Leonard. I can't say it today, but you write it in the comments for me, please, Roz. Every day she does a daily reading. It's very beautiful. It's very reaffirming. So check out Roz's daily spread. It's a really, really nice way to start the day. It's beautiful. Lenormand, there you go. See, I was too close to saying lemon pie.
We're on dessert now.
We
finished main course, entree and main course. We're on dessert now.
Yeah, absolutely. So when you choose to have chocolate cake, make it a conscious choice. You know, be aware of your consequences. And it goes, that's kind of the process that I go through with most of my decisions, is to look at, you know, how am I going to feel when I do that? How am I going to feel when I do that and I know it's not good for me? Do I want to do that this time, or do I not want to do that this time? You know, it's just, and it doesn't mean that I sit there paralyzed with indecision, although that does happen sometimes if they're big decisions. You know, it becomes a very quick thing. You know, when you're tuned into your body and you know what works for you and what doesn't, it's a very quick, easy thing. You know, your body will just go, no, thank you, not touching that today. That's just food. But, you know, there are other things that you have a very strong response to. And one of the things I have a very strong response to is being told what to do. I've always had a problem with being told what to do. Yeah, it's why I work for myself these days, because I have to listen to my boss.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah. But, Ross is saying we should get on to the wine and dinner mints next. That sounds like a good idea too. So, Mark, do you have anything else that you want to add in there? I know we started talking paradigm shift. Is there anything that you would particularly like to see come out of the old into the new, or is there something in the new that we could be possibly working towards? How would that look?
I think personal responsibility is important. I think to initiate or to understand our awareness, to free us from the burden of, doing what we're told all the time, whether we feel like that's the right thing to do or not, freeing us from the burden of fear. One of the things that occurred to me earlier this week was obligation. And I think obligation is we feel obligated to do things that we perhaps don't want to do right now, or that we would like to do differently, but we don't know how. And we do it because we want to stay connected, because human beings are creatures of connection. But what that does is it actually allows us to feed the fear that we have. So I'd like to see people to take more personal responsibility for themselves and to practice that, so that they can check in with themselves on a daily basis and just see, is this the right thing for me to be doing today? Just for now, I'm doing this. Recognizing that, if we do that on a daily basis, we actually, we can make change without having to, sit down and discuss every single thing that happened to us, as throughout our life, we just need to take personal responsibility, whatever that means for each individual person.
Gorgeous. Personal responsibility and free will. Yeah. And I love how you started to bring in the Reiki principles there, just for today.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, that's probably a really good place to end on, just for today. Do not worry. Do not anger.
Indeed.
Yeah. Stay in the present moment. Give yourself a break. Just stop and take a breath.
Enjoy the feeling of doing that.
Yeah. It's very, very easy at the moment to be completely overwhelmed with fear and anxiety, because that is running rife. Yes to the take a breath, probably. That was. Thanks, Roz. So, yeah, this whole being able to take personal responsibility and to step into free will also requires moving out of fear-based decision-making, and to be really, truly honouring yourself. And that comes from a place of love. So if we can shift out of fear into love, then I think we're opening up that moment even more to make really solid free will decisions based in personal responsibility for moving our world forward in a much more equitable, healthy, realistic, sustainable, gorgeous, beautiful, fully fulfilled potential of humanity.
Indeed, I agree.
Which I would love to see. I think we're stuck in teenage adolescence. Humanity's stuck in teenagers.
And I think that's actually that's something to look forward or push forward, is that being able to feel that every single person has the opportunity to do that in their own way.
Absolutely.
And know that their way is okay. Their way is good.
Yeah.
Their way is, correct for them. We don't need to follow any single way. We just need to work out what our way is.
And I think, it's that whole idea of, as we mature into adults, there is an expectation that we step up in responsibility and, really owning ourselves as individuals. But I think we actually need to take that higher onto the soul level and step up in responsibility of ourselves at the spiritual dimension.
At all layers.
Yeah, at all layers. Absolutely. All right. Well, I think we taught that one to an end too. I feel really good about that.
Yeah,
let's bring in a paradigm shift. Let's all between us, be clear, make conscious decisions, choose love over fear, be aware of the consequences of our decisions or the possible consequences, and, decide, can I live with that or can I not?
Indeed. Yeah. I think that's the way to do it. Start today.
Yeah.
Right now.
All right. Thanks, Marg. It's been
Linda.
Much fun to do this with you again. Thank you so much for tuning in, Roz, and sharing your thoughts with us.
Yes, thank you very much.
If you have time to watch the beginning part and you've got stuff to say, pop it in the comments. We'll come back through and answer questions and engage in dialogue with you, because this is such a juicy topic.
It is.
I love it. So, yeah.
So anything anyone has to say, please add it in.
Feel free. And if you've got any topics that you think we could maybe contribute to, pop them in the comments too.
Indeed,
we're open to extending the conversation. Oh, we can come up with plenty, but still your ideas would be good too.
Indeed.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. All right, then let's leave it there. Thank you again, Ros, for joining in. Thank you to all of those who tune into the replay. Feel free to leave your comments. We will come back. And we look forward to connecting with you again this time next week.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah? Cool. All right, bye for now.
Bye.